Hey guys, and welcome back to the Retail Rip Review. Today we're heading back into the land of baseball prospecting with a blaster box of 2025 Panini Stars and Stripes Baseball. Now, even though this isn't a new product in the sense that it was released in April, it is still a new product on the channel. So I wanted to take a quick couple of minutes to talk about what Stars and Stripes is and what we can expect to find in it. So Stars and Stripes is Panini's annual release that is dedicated to amateur baseball players. So similar to Topps with Bowman, where the emphasis is on young players and prospects, Stars and Stripes is even more extreme. The player checklist for this set is almost entirely comprised of amateur USA baseball players ranging from college all the way down to high school and below. It seems crazy to think, but there are literal 13 and 14-year-olds. Yes, actual children that are in this set. They're there because of their affiliations with the USA national team or development program. So why collect Stars and Stripes over something more popular like Bowman that also has prospects and Major League Baseball licensing? Well, why collect anything, I guess, but it just really kind of depends on how intense you are about prospecting, in my opinion. There are certainly players in Stars and Stripes that you can't find in other sets, and for a lot of players, it might be their literal first card ever, which could be a big deal for someone who turned out to be an eventual star down the road. Plus, also due to the amateur nature of the players, you do tend to, from what I've seen, get a little bit more as far as the hits are concerned. Like you get more autos and relics on average because of the checklist of players. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get something good, but maybe you have a little bit more of a chance to get something that's interesting at the very least. So what are the downsides? There's always downsides, but I think it's kind of obvious at this point. The player checklist is obscure. And unless you're just a huge baseball junkie and just love reading up on prospects in general, you're probably not going to know who any of these people are. And that goes for me as well. I'm only familiar with baseball prospects, in the time leading up to the draft. And even then, we're talking about some real surface level stuff. I might read an article on ESPN about the top 5 draft picks or something like that. So it's not exactly in-depth analysis. And like we talked about before, because these kids are so young, if you pull a card from a 14-year-old, you're going to have to hang on to that card for a little while to see if that kid decides to even keep playing baseball, let alone become great at it. So that can be a bit of a drawback for a lot of people. To that end, about the obscure players, barring just a notable draft pick that we talked about, like a first rounder that was drafted this year, or maybe a child of a major leaguer, somebody who has a name, or a veteran associated with USA Baseball, none of these cards are really going to carry much value. So Stars and Stripes is definitely not something that you want to open to see immediate returns on. In fact, when we go through our opening, you're probably not going to see a ton of pop-ups on that. So just go ahead and prepare yourself. We're really just kind of looking to see what we can see. So even after all that naysaying, let me reassure you that there are still good things that you can pull from Stars and Stripes. The number one on the list, I think, as far as pulls, has to be the Kaboom insert, which is hugely popular across all the sports. I think people would probably consider it one of the holy grails of certain Panini sets. They're case hits, and the good thing about Kabooms in this set is that they feature USA Baseball alums. They're actual huge names, so you can get somebody like Paul Skeens or Bobby Witt Jr. or Mark McGuire or somebody like that. So that would obviously be fantastic. Otherwise, we would be hopefully looking for any of the top picks in this year's 2025 draft. So Eli Willits, Tyler Bremner, Ethan Holiday, JoJo Parker, people like that. We're really hoping to pull parallels, numbered cards of them, maybe an auto or relic. That would be fantastic. But other than that, we just kind of have to follow our heart and see what we like. Sometimes if you're not in it for the value, you just got to be in it for the aesthetics. So maybe we'll come across some cool cards. All right, guys, that's enough talk about Stars and Stripes. Let's actually open it up and take a look at the cards. We'll check out our box here first. All right, so we get 35 cards per box. We get 2 autographs or memorabilia cards per box on average. That's why I was saying they kind of load them up a little bit more just because of the nature. Let's see, look for blaster exclusive parallels, including red and blue fireworks. Unless they're super obvious and they just, like a red firework background, I'm not going to know what any of them are called. So there's going to be a lot of pop-ups for identifying things. I just want to make sure we have the right names for stuff. So find 14 parallels per box on average. There's also going to be a lot of pop-ups for the players themselves, because like I mentioned before, I don't know who a lot of these players are. So in the event that they were drafted, I'll try to pop up their draft position, what team they play for. if they're still in college, say what team they play for, that sort of thing. Because otherwise it's just going to be me, reading off their names, and that's going to get old pretty quick. So 5 cards per pack, and it looks like we have 7 packs. Let's get started. So I've noticed in the brief times I've watched Stars and Stripes openings, like the cards are kind of randomly put in here, like some are backwards like this, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a parallel from what I can understand. We'll see. This does look like some sort of rainbow foil. Will Brick. See, I say here it says 16U, 17U National Team Development Program. So Will's got a few years to go before he makes his debut. And right off the bat, we have an autograph. Another under 16, under 17-year-old. This is Connor Salerno. So good luck to you, Connor. We're hoping for the best. Any information on National Team Development Program? Doesn't really say anything about Connor except he's working with a 90-mile-per-hour heater. That's a good start. Behind that we have I guess we would call this like a sand glitter kind of refractor. This player is Hudson Alpert. And we just got some more standard cards here. You can see there's some designs here, like this one has stars, this one has just more of like a traditional rainbow backing. So you kind of get a little bit of everything in these packs. I'm not sure, I guess for the purposes of what they're calling a parallel, I guess like that star would count, for example. So that's kind of gives you an idea of how you get 14. There's another stars, Jacob Seaman, Trey Phelps, Blake Hoover. This looks like another sand glitter. Grayson Bell and Devin Diaz. Next pack. Nobody I recognize so far, but I kind of feel like that was always going to be the case. Anthony Frausto on the stars. Griffin McCain. Hey, Caden Bodine, I actually know that name. He was drafted this year by the Orioles, I believe. It's a catcher. And you've got a numbered card, numbered 79 of 225. Tyler Canast. Not sure how old you are, sir. Hey, look, there is the red fireworks they talked about. Even I can't get that wrong. It's red and it's got fireworks. Tyler, once again, on the 16, 17 or under development team. But since he's numbered, we'll put him up there. And with Jedrick Elliott. Next pack. Isaac Vidal on the stars. Jordan Martin. Ben Albert. And we've got, oh wow, that's pretty nice actually. It's Hurston Waldrop of the Atlanta Braves. So I mean, it's certainly a name that I feel like a lot of people would recognize, but certainly I would, being a Braves fan. So did not expect that. Didn't even know he was with the program. So that's a fun surprise. We got a game-worn memorabilia patch there. That is not numbered, but still. Actually, Hurston, you get you're dead center here. And Peyton Oheski? Not sure. All right, so honestly, like my goal was to get like at least 2 or 3 players that we actually knew who they were. Dylan Wood, that's another name that I think people are familiar with on the parallel. Let's see, anybody else here? Jeremiah Hall, Coleman Borthwick on the sand glitter. Borthwick, it's a mouthful. Graham Schlicht. There's some names here. A little ding in the corner there, Grant. My apologies, sir. Just gonna kind of combine these together here. 2 packs left. We've already gotten both of our quote-unquote hits, so I don't expect anything else, but maybe we'll get lucky and pull a name here. Cooper Rummel, Max Bellew, Kyler McCage on the sand glitter, Marcus Grease, Colton Christman. Last pack. Trying to move things along at a decent pace here for you guys. Rose, Kyle Johnson, Renfro. Hey, we got another numbered card. Cruz Adams, 80 out of 225. This is going to be another firework parallel. Well, we're going to take down you, sir, since you are just a regular card. We'll put you up there. And we're going to end the pack with Case and Fletcher. And so that's going to do it for our 2025 Panini Stars and Stripes blasters. We got a lot of cards, got a lot of parallels, all those stars, these sand glitters, and things like that. Those aren't necessarily as important to me as some of the other ones. We got an autograph and a relic. The auto may be from, a 15 or 16-year-old, but the relic was from an actual MLB pitcher. Got 2 numbered parallels and several of stars parallels as well too, and a couple of names that I actually recognize. But like I said, for the majority of these, I'm really going to have to go deep diving and see who they are and decide who to hold on to. So let's go ahead and check out our numbers from today and see how we did. We didn't really expect much. We kind of had the warning going into it, but I was actually okay with what we got. And let's see how those numbers figure into our overall blaster totals for the year so far. But in any case, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Retail Rip Review. Hope you enjoyed, and next time we'll have something a little bit different for you. Take care and have a good day.